back, I hope. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Lost to Colorado and lost both games on the road for Marchand's debut. Concerns are being scored on too often. Jesus. We just started this batch and you're going to sit here and complain to me. I mean, in fairness, the pressure is on a little bit. If St. Louis keeps picking up momentum. We rolled a 2. Oh, God, come on. We rolled a 1. I'm going to disagree with our head coach, Mr. Devereaux. And he'll lose some morale. This is what it is. We did beat Pittsburgh. Dallas, 4-3 win. Schunoff was roughed up a little bit. We're now 2 points back of Dallas as St. Louis has moved up. They have a game at hand. So that was a big win against Dallas. Oscarson gets hurt. We lose to Los Angeles. We play Pittsburgh on my birthday. And get shut the fuck out. Damn it. Saros is dropping a little bit. All right, Thompson and Mason Lohrei does not work together at all. We got to go Thompson, Yossi, Lohrei, Goss to spare. Or worst case, Roman Yossi. Nope. There we go. For the forwards, how has Brad done since being here? 4 points in 6 games with 3 goals is not bad. LaRue is a penalty minute machine. Something has to change here. Fantasayev's going down to the 4th line just to try something different. Ryan O'Reilly has dropped to depth forward, which is tremendous. That means I could put him on a lower line. Normally I honor, what it is, but that's more for the AHL. Olesen really hasn't been bad. Kamel really should be in a higher skilled role, but there's no space for him.
I'm just trying to walk through this fucking grass.
Shout out to OTF for the follow. Appreciate it. Okay. So in theory, if I wanted to end up with Paul Mary over here, if I wanted these guys to be the wingers in the top 6, can I do that? Svechkov or O'Reilly would have to be scratched, I think. Put Macklin over there, have LaRue there. Bump up Kamel. Oh, God, it's not a good fit. We tried to do that for a bit of skill. Oh, good for you. I don't know. I just always found it funny. It's the... In terms of what it is, it's... Search Christian Bale rant on YouTube. You'll be in for a good time. I don't know exactly what we're going to be able to do here. Svechkov would have to be out. Someone like Walker Duehr. And again, that's only because of the injury to one Alex Killorn, who was still out for like another month. So it does put us into a really, really weird spot. I don't know who I want to play and where I want them to be. I really don't. Sam Besser drops a sit-down suspension. That's great. Hey, thanks for not waiting until I was already done with the lines. Be a 1-game suspension for someone on the team. So that's fun. Redo the wheel here in a minute. So we'll get this set just to have to scratch somebody. We'll roll with that and get some depth throughout the lines. All right, so really quickly, let's see which... I'm not going to worry about typos here. I'm just trying to go through this fast. Let's see. Who is going to get scratched for the next game? All right. Who is it going to be? Who's getting scratched for one game? Macklin. Macklin will be out for the next game. Means I am going to have to call up a left wing, which will be Rem Pitlick. Just go best lines in the AHL. All right, Macklin, so you're out for a game. Let's get Rem Pitlick in there. That works for me. All right, it's Philadelphia. Evangelista. Talking about how he's playing lately. So we roll a 1. We roll a 2. Looking to getting you different line mates. Blaming the line mates, are we, Luke? That's good. We lose 5-3 to Philly. We're starting to slip. We're down into 6th. We are down into 6th. Something's got to change or we're in big, big trouble here. Having an old Louis Eriksson-esque contract isn't quite what I had in mind. I cannot believe how bad Loré and Thompson have been this season. I can't believe that. All right. We might have to look into more trades here, honestly. We might have to. With how bad they've been, we got younger guys in the system who can get called up. Might not be as bad. There is a ton of interest in Mason Loré. I'm looking for a deal that's just one prospect, as opposed to somebody in a draft pick, because you know that prospect would be worth the most. It doesn't look like we're going to find a particular deal. Shout out to Vancouver Canucks legend, Patrick Kane. What if I pair him with a second rounder? Doesn't work. If I pair him with a third, since we're going to get a trade, or, a pick back more than likely. Doesn't look like I'm going to find what I want in terms of a particular trade. Well, Mason, you got to go, buddy. You got to go. Question is, we got to look at the prospects that are out there, because there's going to be a lot of prospects that are on the block. We got to go look at the trade blocks here for these teams and see what the best prospects, the list of the best prospects happens to be. That we're aware of. See, the problem with Arizona, we don't have info. We don't have info on anybody from Arizona. Like, can we guarantee, as Calgary is looking to blow it up? Tanner Howe's rocking a 77. Lucas Reichel, left wing center. Sandy Pelika's not looking that bad, but for the most part, yeah, we don't have confirmation on just how good these prospects are. Dvorsky, we know, is a 75 at 20 years old. Frondel's apparently not quite locked in, but a 74. It's tough to say just who's going to be better A lot of these guys are in the same category. Penguins are trying to trade Crosby. Looks like it's just going to be best guess in a lot of ways. But yeah, unfortunately, Mason Lohrey's got to go. He's got to go. If he's going to play that poorly, we can get somebody else in there, even if they're not as high of a rating. Because clearly, that higher rating doesn't matter to the sim. Second round pick and a prospect is very, very common. This prospect and a fifth makes you think this guy is awesome. Because with these other guys, it's like, yeah, we'll give you a second. We'll give you a third with thinking him. We'll only give you a fifth with Sedin. Makes you think. Prospect with a second is promising, but that can also mean there's someone like Lau who's a low 4. You gotta sometimes 4D chess it. Exposal in a second, though, at the same time, shouldn't be that bad. Sandine Pellikka in a third. I'm really intrigued by that dude in a fifth. There's also Jordan Gavin in a fifth. This tight spot. We'll activate a press box suspension for somebody. We'll get to that in a minute. Bouncy, take it easy, buddy. Catch you later. Tanner Molendijk, it would be nice to get him on the team. We weren't able to draft him. Honestly, I could be big braining this, or I could be setting myself up for complete failure. We've used Consta Hellenius before. There's a dude named Fleece. So trade number 46 is Tampa offering Fleece a 2027 fifth rounder. And that's why I'm scared I could be 4D chessing this. Look at Weston and that listed potential. Yet they're only offering a sixth. That's what scares me about this whole strategy of trying to big brain it. Is I could be wrong. I could be very, very wrong. But in terms, I think we got to get more information on Weston. I got to see where this kid was drafted. Third rounder. Does he actually have those abilities? We can't confirm it. He was only a third rounder, though. That scares me quite a bit. He is a dual position defenseman. That's pretty scary. What about Fleece? Fleece was a first rounder, 19th overall. And then there was Sedin on Arizona. He was a second rounder. I don't think that logic's going to work. Because the Fleece is there with a fifth. There are other players there who I know are half decent. So I don't think we got to worry about that logic. It sucks we're kind of having to run our deadline right now, but it's where we're at. So honestly, second round pick and a prospect's a good way to go. So any trade with a second rounder, and then we'll check out the players that are there to see where they were drafted, just to make sure it's a first round pick coming back. We're not worried about Charlie Coyle. Buffalo, we got to look at DeMaio. Well, we already know about Lau. Carolina, we want to look at Rafalski. CBJ, we got to look at Svozil. Sandine Pellikka in a third. But again, if we can get a second rounder, we should. Los Angeles, Oljevich, but we already know he's not that good. They also have Sjostrom. Anybody else prospect in a second? The New York Islanders offering Sam Dickinson, who we have used in a series somewhat recently, so I'll probably only look at Veilleux. Jamie Alexiak would be nice for the moment, but... All right. I think we have our short list, and then there is Gray on Washington. Okay. Let's see who we can find here. We got a list of about a dozen, less than a dozen, probably 10-ish players. We got to see which ones are actually worth targeting here. So Kabanov, second rounder. Kauppanen, second rounder. Buffalo had DeMaio, second rounder. Carolina with Rafalski, seventh rounder. Jesus, Rob, what's going on? Give it a 56 months. That is outrageous. How are you? Svozil was a third rounder. We know he's real, but he is 23. Los Angeles. Oljevich was a seventh rounder. Sjostrom, second rounder. For a medium four. Sjostrom, man. Sjostrom was looking pretty good. Was DeMaio a second rounder? Just to go back. It turns out someone who was a second rounder might be worth looking at. But yeah, right now, Schustrom's the guy. Tired is to have to work late. Yeah, that's not too bad, at least. Veilleux, first rounder. First rounder for Veilleux. He's our favorite right now. And then Washington was Gray, who was a third rounder. All right. So we're going to look to make that deal with the New York Islanders, I would say. Second round pick and a half decent prospect, Mason Lohrei. I mean, I thought it would be a really good piece for us. He's just been so bad this season, and we have to make this team better. And we have to do it soon. Like, we're running out of time. Like, we're not even in the mix for fourth anymore. We're in sixth. We have to win ASAP. So we'll take... Oh, shit, Veilleux was a third. I made the mistake there. We'll go Sjostrom in a second. The second from Edmonton. We'll go for Sjostrom instead. So, Lohrei is out. I didn't notice that Veilleux was for a third. But yeah, didn't want to get rid of Mason. He had to go, and honestly, he's not the only one. Lassie Thompson's been brutal this year. And given the team's better, I don't want to run into a situation where we're having to pay them a bunch of money if we can't trust that they're going to actually be able to do something for us. I'm willing to take the third next year because I already have too many seconds this year. We'll do Lassie Thompson to the Islanders for the former first rounder in Veilleux and a third round pick next year. So, big moves on the defensive side of things, but given the struggles, it was the right thing to do. Especially when guys like Sword and Prokop, who got a chance due to injury, have played well. So honestly, Olsen and Lashunov could both get the call up. Or we could go with Lashunov and Mathieu. I feel like Anton Olsen deserves a chance at 23. We'll give Lashunov a chance, man. He's younger, but we'll give him a chance. And honestly, for the moment, we'll send down Lozon until I can sign some defenders to help fill out the AHL. So if we go best lines, go Lashunov, Yossi, Olsen, Gostisbehere, Sword, Prokop. It's not as strong of a defense as we started the season with, but again, if people aren't going to get the job done, screw them. They got to go. I don't think we're done with trades either. Like I said, I think this is kind of our deadline a little bit early because we have the pressure of having to finish fourth in the division. Let's look at the forwards. So, I mean, Evangelista has been okay. He's certainly not a number one. Palmieri's been okay. Oh, my God. Someone's willing to trade for Kyle Palmieri. He didn't get a no movement clause. We can move him. Warren Fogle in a third. Osplund. Carolina's offering some dude in a second. They're also offering Ivanov in a fourth. There's Gray again. Ledeen. Second round pick of McGowan. We would again still have way too many draft picks. But at this point, I don't know how good McGowan is, but given he got so little money, we're going to take that second from Washington and Gray. We've moved Kyle Palmieri, which was not the plan because he wasn't doing that badly. But I never expected someone to be interested. And that'll allow us to move up Olesen, who's been pretty good, and get Joachim Kamel into a more ideal role. Might result as well in Simon Knack getting a call up for the fourth line. You don't really know how good Gray is. And honestly, the answer isn't looking very good, but... Jared Ubbs, what's going on? Left wing side. So we're going to Evangelista, Olesen, Kamel. They've been serviceable. How's Marchand been? 6 points in 7 games. We love LaRue, but holy shit, the penalties. Schaefer's been okay. We do need a left wing. But it could be a fourth line left wing. I mean, shit, Marcel can slot in there. How's Pinto done? Pinto's been okay, but he hasn't been amazing. You could argue he doesn't have the top-notch options to work with. Ryan O'Reilly's been pretty bad. Danforth in a third. Second round pick, man. Second round pick for Carolina for Ryan O'Reilly. We have to take that. Again, I wasn't planning on trading him necessarily, but you get a second round pick offered. Done deal. We're going to have to move these picks, but hey, it is what it is. Right now, we're just getting draft capital to work with, which is pretty nice. Even if I will have to make other moves. Which will pretty much be moving those picks for prospects that are out there. Or veterans to make the team better. Svechkov's been okay. He hasn't been elite, but he's young enough we don't necessarily have to get rid of him. Oscar Back was a depth option. Of course, Fanasayev's been on the NHL team this year. He's been okay. Theoretically, Shane Pinto, who we had to give up a second-round pick to get. Swap him for Charlie Coyle. We could recoup that second-rounder. Get younger with Jordan Gavin, Frondell. Like, if we move Shane Pinto, how bad do we actually look? Look at his numbers one more time. He hasn't been brutal, but he also hasn't been amazing. Yeah, look at how many second-round picks we have now. That is not allowed. But we can wait until the deadline and then move the least valuable of the seconds. I think for the moment, I mean, we've already made some pretty massive changes that we weren't expecting to make. We can get a look at what the team's going to be. Obviously, send down McGowan. We are now in problematic cap floor territory. So that's a thing. Send down Gray, call up Knack. Give him a chance. Honestly, send down Pitlick. Let's give Marcel a chance. And Weatherby can stay as a depth option. Svechkov really hasn't been bad, but he also hasn't been elite. I am willing to send Svechkov back down. Call up like Cody Glass to make room for him. So if we go best lines, Evangelista, Olofsson, Kamel. We need to get Cody Glass out of there for Simon Knack. I mean, Marcel, Weatherby, and Knack really could be the fourth line. I mean, obviously it's weaker on paper, but that could be the team. That could be the team. Let's get Graham Sword back in. It's weaker on paper in a lot of ways. That doesn't mean that they'll sim worse. But there were just certain moves that we had to make. Guess a McGowan's just a rando scrub that they signed. So we do need a couple of depth options. Honestly, we need a couple of depth options across the board. Let's see how many contracts we're at here. Need another cap whale or two. We are at 46 contracts. $10 million in cap space. Let's bring in the first dual position defenseman. That'll be the legend, Mark Friedman. Never forget when we had to set up Mark Friedman as being very, very good. That didn't age very well, but hey. And then forward-wise, we'll go with Armia. We'll bring in Yoel Armia as a veteran. And let's see. We do have a press box suspension to hand out, which is 5 games. And we'll see. Honestly, I'm just going to go with a number. It's like 1 through 12, up through 18, 19 players. We will pick a number. Number 6, which is Oscar Olofsson, will be out for the next 5 games, which sucks. So we were trying to get him into a better spot so we can send down Cody Glass and call up Walker Duehr and give Walker a chance. Honestly, that means Joakim Kamel is the guy who really benefits from it. He'll finally get into a more skilled position. So for Olofsson, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Olofsson is out until after the Sharks game. That is a pretty hefty suspension. Armia's here. Friedman's here. We do beat the Islanders 5-1 first game after the big set of changes. So in case you needed a positive spin on the moves we just made, it worked out at least for 1 game. As we head into March. 4 points back of the Wild, 2 games at hand. Evangelista's upset I broke my promise about different line mates. Luke, I got so much shit going on, my man. I got to apologize to you. Got to spin again. Lands on a 1. I get to disagree. Well, that's good. Luke Evangelista is pissed at me now, which is fun. The best lines in the AHL, and we lost to LA, but pity point. That's good. Vancouver. We win 5-3. Oscar Back has returned, and our final game before the deadline is against Anaheim. We win. 1 point behind the Wild. Same amount of games played heading into the trade deadline. We have to consider adding. Like, we're right there on the cusp. It's going to come down to just how crazy March ends up being. But yeah, look at these defensemen. Lashunov, +6 in 4 games. Like, again, I never liked the idea of like, oh, you got to keep this guy because he's higher rated. No, man, you roll with players who can actually get the job done. Who aren't this huge detriment. Unfortunately, Reed Schaefer has been a bit of a detriment. He has really struggled in his NHL career so far. Zach LaRue's penalty total is always interesting. Brad Marchand's been a point-per-game player since being acquired, so there's no doubt that's been a smart decision. But yeah, trade deadline's going to be interesting, especially with how many second-round picks we have to trade.